Well, I think everybody has heard the news from today. Everybody's reacted to it. I've probably seen a dozen different content creators that have talked about this already. But I figure I'm the sports card dad, and I know a lot of my viewers are dads and moms out there, so it would be kind of weird if I didn't respond to it in some way. At first, I thought some of the posts, maybe it was an exaggeration or something. Like, no, this can't really be. And then I actually did watch the video and was like, wow, it really was that bad. And I've got 2 sons, I've got 2 daughters. My oldest is 21, my oldest daughter is 21, and my youngest daughter is 12. So I've run the gamut. You know, I've gone through all the way up to 21. She's an adult now, and I've got a 12-year-old that's getting into her teen years and finding herself and all those sorts of things. And, you know, I've been talking about this for a long time. I don't think it's limited to the breaking space. I think that as a whole, as a community, as an industry here, this used to be kind of a cottage little industry, and now it's kind of grown up into a multi-billion-dollar deal. Fanatics has entered the game. Large companies are investing more into it. eBay's reinvesting. All these companies are reinvesting. Actually look at this as an opportunity. You know, I've been pretty harsh on breaking in general. I think excessive breaking, what we have in the hobby right now, is not healthy for our hobby as a whole. Price points are way too high, and a lot of it is thanks to breaking. I understand there's huge demand for the product. I just wish manufacturers could find a better way to bridge that gap to where there's more product getting into the hands of collectors and folks that just want to open packs, that don't necessarily want to get into the gambling side of the hobby. In some ways, I feel like this industry grew too fast, and so now you have remnants of kind of people that got in, you know, I don't know, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10 years ago. To be honest with you guys, if this continues on, I'm really optimistic just about sports cards, collectibles as a whole. I think it's going to continue to grow, but I think there's got to be a maturation, a maturity level that's got to get reached here in this world, in this industry. It just has to. We're dealing with real money, with real families. It's a big deal. You know, for a lot of us like me, this is a nostalgic thing. This isn't a BS business. This isn't I was working a dead-end job and I found my way into some sort of a hobby business, you know, like a lot of folks have done here over the last 5 years. And bless them if they were able to make something out of it and do great things and run an honest business. But I think for those that aren't, man, you know, it's probably time to move on. But the big question is, how are you going to spend your hobby dollar? Whether that's buying into breaks, whether that's at a card shop, at a card show. There's so much competition now, and there's still a lot of friggin' morons out there. There just are. I think the biggest question coming out of this, and some people might not even know what I'm talking about here. I don't even want to talk about what was said and done because it's just so despicable and disgusting. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to give it any more air. I'm not going to show images of the apology. There was an apology afterwards. It's all kind of irrelevant to me. This is just another thing, but this was way crossing the line. Way crossing the line. Where again, as an industry, these big companies, you run these big companies, you're investing a lot of money. I think it's time to really take a hard look at how you want this thing to look. It's not just about the bottom line, about dollars. Like, what sort of image do you want to portray out? You know, I've heard other content creators say, you know, this hobby is not for kids anymore. Well, clearly it's not. My 9-year-old collects Pokemon cards and he likes Saints cards. We're New Orleans Saints fans. So of course, you know, he gets into that stuff. There's no way in hell I would have him watch a break with me. I don't watch them, but even if we, you know, whatever is on the background, there's no way in hell. I don't care who it is. I wouldn't even bother with it. You know, there's a lot of stuff in this hobby that I wouldn't even bother with my kids. And I think that that's pretty sad because, hey, look, if you look around, you go to the National, you go to these card shows, there's a lot of young people out there. There's a lot of impressionable young people. Let's teach them how to be professionals. And I'm not saying that I'm it. I'm not saying that I'm the answer to this. I'm just saying let's all look in the mirror and just think like, man, how can we make this thing better? If you run a business in this hobby, if you're another breaker in this hobby, this is a huge opportunity for you. This is a huge opportunity for all breakers right now. You know, look at the business that you run and repackers too. You know, there's just look at the gambling side of the house, the gambling product side of the house. Take a look at how is your business run? What could be improved on? What is appropriate? How do you want to portray this thing? Because if the idea is that we're going to attract in new families, new young people, the next generation is going to get into cards, are you kidding me? Yeah, right. No. It's definitely not. I was watching Seth Meyers talk show, the late night show. Seth Meyers always says, I've seen his stand up before here locally. It's fantastic. He had Paul Skeens on as a guest. By the way, didn't realize that guy is like 6'6", 330 or so. He's like Randy Johnson. I didn't realize he was actually that big. Anyway, Skeens is on there, and he's talking about the 1 of 1, the debut patch that was pulled, and Seth Meyer. And he asked Skeens, he said, are you happy this is an 11-year-old that pulled this card, and what would be kind of like the worst outcome? And his answer was, if a 50-year-old dude, a 50-year-old collector pulled that card. That was Paul Skeens, which not realizing that, like, basically the whole hobby, it now is that, essentially, most of it. If we're really serious about getting the next generation in, then we have to run serious businesses. This can't happen. It just can't happen. And look, bottom line is, we all get to choose where we spend our money, wherever that's going to be. So what is this hobby going to look like in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years? Are we going, as my buddy Nick over at Sports Card Madness talks about, Biff, Back to the Future Biff, where we're just going like all gambling, everything's a gamble, everything's a derivatives trade, everything is a gamble. Are we going that route? Because look, I think there's a purpose for breaking, as we've talked about it, trying to get the teams that you want without buying a whole box and all that. There is utility for breaks, but we have to figure out a better way to do it. There's got to be a better system in place for it. And I hope that as a community, again, I am not the breaking expert, but I really hope as a community that we can make that side better. I really hope. I'm certainly not the guy to do it, but there's got to be better ways. There's just got to be a better way to do business than what we have in today's world. Thanks for watching, guys. And remember, vote with your hobby dollar. Your dollars are precious. Spend them where it makes sense. Do some due diligence and find the right path for you. Find the right groups for you. I'll talk to you later.